They use Bowser for that actually. So that's
interesting.
Even for me, that's even scarier, Bowser Min Min. But you know, either way, they're a trooper for sure. Now they're in with the Ike Bowser combination.
Oh,
So
Raflow is playing Dark Samus for some reason.
yeah, so Raflow, to my knowledge, Raflow has always had a couple of like secondaries, the Kazuya, the Dark Samus, and I guess for some matchups they don't want to use Palio, or maybe they just want to try it out. They are trying out the Dark Samus for game 1.
Or it might be a trick for the button text. We can't be sure.
Warming up the charge shots or the jab pivot grabs, you know.
But yeah, it actually, according to the bracket, it does look like Raflow went Dark Samus versus their last matchup, which was a Bowser hero, or sorry, K. Rool hero.
Is that trash?
Yes.
Yes, UK. Yeah, he's very interesting. I was curious to see how far he could get. You know, still going with the K. Rool hero. Very weird pair. Yeah, I don't think that would go too well against Raflow, being a Samus or Dark Samus and Palu player. You know, not the most favorable matchups for sure. And I think he just raided the streams. I think Trash is out either way. So shout out to Trash, shout out to UK.
Huge shout outs to the UK players doing it big in this bracket. But we got where's Ryng from? Do you know?
I've never heard of Ryng.
So I'm gonna look it up. We'll see. Raflow, obviously very prominent French player. Ryng is Italian according to his StarTG profile. You don't see too many Italian players like at the super top echelon of European tournaments actually.
Yeah, I think there's been like a little bit of a surge recently with M4E, but yeah, not too many Italians. You know, Ryng gonna try and do it big, not doing it too big, just falling short with that recovery. And the Raflow's gonna take this first lead very nicely.
And that's a big thing about this matchup of Dark Samus versus Ike. It's going to be very difficult for Ryng to ever get back to the stage, and that is exactly why, because one of two things will hit him in the face pretty much every time, and that is either that down B remote mine or just the neutral B charge shot. Yeah. It's so difficult to get back to stage with this character against the good zoner.
And I've seen so many, of course we have GP, I've seen so many like vids and like links and like GIFs of how Ike's recovery is so exploitable. And I'm pretty sure Raflow's done the homework because that was like textbook. That was so easily done. And this looked, you know, super easy. Didn't even need to think about it. You know, as soon as they're off stage, they should be dead.
Oh, does finally find that back air for the first stock. Catches Raflow dropping shield a little bit early. But it's starting to look like this game might just need to be used for data because it doesn't look great.
Yeah, it's one of those. Like, I just feel like Raflow's catching anytime that Ryng wants to jump. You know, he's catching the jump ins. That's what Ike wants to do, right? That's how they start their combos usually. It's with the Nez, you know what I mean? And I feel like if you're getting stuffed out every time by Raflow, you gotta go back to the drawing board, devise a different game plan because it doesn't really seem to be working out too well. Sneaking in that backer as well. The Raflow ledge play has been great to kind of spectate.
You can see it kind of crossing over from how he plays with Palutena. It's very much coming out in the way that he operates Dark Samus, but Ryng's starting to get a little bit more tricky with the movement. You see that air dodge back into the second jump for the Nair. Actually does connect with it, but that's the other thing that's kind of the bane of Ike's existence is he's really only like a one-hit, two-hit type of character. Yeah. And even sometimes there, the second hit doesn't connect because Raflow is able to just up B through it and set up for a kill. Very unfortunate.
That can be so frustrating, like trying to slip out, or not even trying to, slipping out of like your one-hit two moves that you kind of rely on. Not being able to get anything started is going to be, you know, really hard for a Ryng. But you know, did a decent job towards the later half of that game. It was just more so of like the nerves, I guess, kicking in at the start. Not really trying to find your feet. Not really finding them at the moment. Looking a little bit lost. And you know, Raflow with the Dark Samus, man.
Very, very polished looking Dark Samus. We're gonna see if maybe something gets changed up going into game 2, and the thing that I hope gets changed up is our stage, because why in God's name is an Ike player letting either a Samus or a Palutena, it doesn't really matter, take you to FD for game 1? That's just asking to get juggled until you die.
In my head, I was thinking Raflow obviously doesn't want the Ike player Ryng to have triplats, right? So they can do
so you're gonna ban Battlefield, the bat. And then Ryng probably bans out, I don't know what the stage list for this tournament is, but I would guess banned out Smashville and Town maybe. But I would, as an Ike, I would want to go Town. especially in these two matchups, just to at
blast
least
sense,
like,
right?
get some back airs or fares off. And I know for a fact that I would prefer either Smashville or PS2 over going to FD.
FD would be the one I ban immediately if I have to fight Samus of all characters. As Ike, you know, there's not much room to kind of like jump around, you know, force on the same level ground. Can't land as well, and there's no platforms to do your ladders, so you know you're kind of just stuck with her. It can be quite suffocating.
Yeah. So we'll see what the counter pick is this time. They're both sticking to those same two characters though.
Yeah,
I
don't
love
feel...
the synthwave background on the.
It's really nice.
That's FD again. Oh no.
Wait, are you? Oh my god, yeah. That is that's crazy. I just want to know what Ryng's thought process is like. Is it just any other stage he just really doesn't want to go on? Maybe FD is the secret answer. I want to see why.
Might not never get to find out.
I mean, he's got 3 games at least to work with, you know, it's best of 5. You got a lot of room to like kind of think about what you do. Like you said, data for the other game. But might have to switch up a little bit different. Okay, finding definitely a better start from the first game, at least.
Already gets a dash attack there though. This is like really good positioning. If he can catch the get up and does it with grab, that'll be a jump off fair. Raflow already burns his jump too, but he's able to just tether past. And that's the other thing about Samus here. Oh, and he misses out on the back air too.
Oh,
I think accidentally roared there.
Okay, bomb on the ledge. Oh, just kicks him out of it. No time to get up. You can't think about it for too long. You're just going to be getting flown around. The ledge game can be so annoying with Samus. You know, it's so hard to deal with.
Jumps right over that charge shot. But yeah, and that's the thing that you were talking about during the last game. Like every time that that Ryng tries to jump, the flow is there with especially that like long-lasting fair. And so he's able to just like throw that out there and know for a fact that he's going to cover that space that flow or that Ryng is trying to jump into. But Fabs, I'm about to get dragged by eBay apparently to a mainstream match, and I think you'll be after me. So I'll see you in a second.
Okay, so while Last is away, I guess it's just solo me comms. So I think Taylor's going to come back. Taylor the Toaster is going to come back and join me for a little bit in a sec. But either way, right now, it's just going to be just me. Sorry if you wanted more Last comms, but it's just going to have to be that way. Regardless, though, like I was saying, I think Ryng is doing better from this game than before, right? But it's just a case of like he needs to stop chasing Raflow. Do you know what I mean? When you're on that ledge and you have to think about your kind of options that are kind of limited, you have to just, you know, claim back center stage, find your way back, and then get your game plan started. And that's what's happening right now. Do you see the Nez? You see the way that he's flowing the Nez in, waiting for his time, right? He's being way more patient this game, as opposed to the first game when he was rushing in and getting slapped about all across the game. But, you know, this time, he's finding his way in, slowly but surely, but the only thing is he's getting stuffed out, right?
And speaking of finding his way in, I've found my way back into the stream. Hello everyone, it's only been about 5 minutes, but I'm going to be commentating with Fabs for the first time ever, and immediately I get to see Raflow taking a dash attack kill in what has been a much closer game than the last one. What the heck?
Yeah, I was just saying that like this game compared to the first is like night and day. Do you know what I mean? Definitely dark and light. For sure, and I feel like this Dark Samus is doing a lot. Do you know what it is? Like I was saying, it's the oppression on the left side or the right side. The ledge play, bro. Ryng cannot do anything about it to get anything started. He's just kept there. I feel like Ike's options are really limited on the ledge.
I kind of like the parallels at the moment. We've got 2 Samuses in winner side at the moment, a Dark Samus and a regular Samus. Raflow at the moment using Dark Samus in a very advantageous matchup against Ryng's Ike. And then over on the other side, you've got Siski having to deal with Hollow, and Olimar player in Samus's worst matchup. I hear he may be using Incineroar for that one, but we are commentating Raflow versus Ryng. And right now, Ryng wants to make a statement for Italy ahead of Icarus. Italy's got a big major coming up, but their players aren't too known yet outside of M4E. A win on Raflow, Wi-Fi or not, would be gigantic.
Yeah, just to kind of like put yourself on the map, show that you know, show your stuff. Italy are, I think, I wouldn't say slept on region, but they're a pretty good region. Just obviously have to, you know, more to show in the future. But you know, Flow in a little bit of trouble right now. When I get these ladders started, even if you haven't got the platforms, you still have a lot of work to work with. You know what I mean? Like a lot of ground to work with. You just have to find these sneak in these areas when you're getting stuffed out all the time by Samus Fair.
using quick draw both as an attack and then as a movement tool to get to that side of the stage, set up a dash attack, the kill screen giving a bit more time to DI properly, and Raflow's going to be hanging on. But wow, that is going to be a trade, but Raflow takes it with the back air. Ike landed the up tilt. It wasn't enough to KO, but Dark Samus's back air was.
And I feel like Ryng is starting to like work into the game now. Do you know what I mean? Like I was saying before, like it's really hard for Ike to get anything started when you're getting stuffed out all the time. Anytime he wanted to jump, Raflow was there. But I feel like Ryng was starting to like, be more patient. He was keeping Raflow a little bit like scared out of fear. And he actually forced Raflow to approach in those later half of that second game. And that's where he started to lose the lead. And Ryng was coming back, but it's a case of, like you said, the trades. You can't trade with Samus that often, bro. The back air is so strong. It doesn't matter what your percent at. You either be off stage or you be into the blast zone.
Yeah, and it's like Samus, sometimes it feels like you could work your way to the other side of Samus, but then Nair is just basically another back air. It just comes from the front instead. It's not as strong as back air, but it's still almost as good of a move, if not just as good. So Samus, one of those where you can't approach from above because they'll screw attack you. If you approach from the left, you might get nared. If you approach from the right, you might get back aired. There's not too many angles you can go and hit, especially with a fairly linear character like Ike. But Ryng has been losing matchups all day long, so why not do another one when a winner's side top 8 is on the other side of it?
Yeah, why not, man? I mean, like I said, he's not down and out yet, but I really want to know, like, just not just go off on one, but I really want to know what is the FD pick reason. You know what I mean? He's been to FD all 3 times now. He's lost the first 2 times. I want to know what the reason is. Does he not like platforms as Ike? I thought he would want them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess just trying to set up, have more guarantees of a falling Nair situation if you at least know that your opponent is on the same plane as you. Oh, very good up air, not quite KOing the dash attack will.
Literally getting fed that air dodge as well from Raflow.
I guess one other aspect of FD is that when Samus does pop the up B, they've got to go all the way back down instead of landing on a platform and then being safe a little quicker. In turn, it means Samus can cover the entire stage with charge shot, but again, Ryng, he's kind of used to being in a losing matchup most of the time as Ike anyway, so he can probably just say, you know what, that's how Samus works, I'll deal with it, and I'll use FD for my benefit.
That makes sense.
The moment is doing so, full stock lead.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, he's doing really well. I feel like as this set's going on, he's getting stronger and stronger. I don't know if he's like a late bloomer or what, but either way, the nairs are coming out way more. Finds the F tilt, punishes that grab. You can't grab for too long, bro. Stays out for so long, and either way, Ryng's gonna find that punishment, and this is where he can set up his ledge trap. Unfortunately, getting stuffed out by the double charge shot, not just 1 but 2.
So wow, like simply not going to make that back. Doesn't even attempt the ether at that point. It was already too late. You don't want to see Ryng drop a lead like this. We are on the verge of a 2-1 potentially, but Raflow's still at low percent, and the more Ike's one of those who kind of struggles with best of 5s compared to best of 3s because he's only got so many mix-ups to try at the end of the day. Ike's win conditions stay the same no matter how differently you want to play. So you want to give the opponents less time to adapt to it, but Ryng is going to try every idea he's got in the book anyway to close this one out. Raflow at 128. Any big attack should do it, and the back air certainly will.
Yeah, you talked about big attacks. What's the biggest of them all from Ike's side? The big back air, just swinging and hitting this time, just cutting through the Samus, taking that game 3. And bro, Ryng got some momentum right now.
Absolutely. I really want to see how it works because Ryng, looking at his bracket path, has mostly just been winning sets uncontested in 2-0s and 3-0s. I'm going to keep looking into that, see if there were any that properly took him down to the wire, but this would maybe be the first real come-from-behind set that Ryng has dealt with. And if it's on Raflow's Dark Samus, then that would be something special. Raflow can, of course, switch to his true main Palutena at any point, but I kind of feel like Dark Samus is something he wants to see through to the end. It's quite a beneficial character to use online. Palu, maybe you've got to be a bit more specific. And his Dark Samus is not exactly far behind his Palutena anyway. They're almost equals at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good point you said about online, because that's what I feel like changes a lot of things. Like people like to say, some characters play different, and I kind of agree. Like when there's online, there's you don't really react to stuff online. It's more so about read. You know what I mean? It's a whole different meta, in my opinion. I feel like even though Palu might be obviously a better player, in general offline, online maybe you don't really have to, react as much as Palu. With Samus, you don't really have to react as much either. It's more so about reads on, like, say, the ledge play, where you're going to be in neutral and kind of punishing that with projectiles, because obviously I can help with a little bit of delay. So I do feel like Samus is probably a better choice, but sometimes you got to go your main, man. Like, I feel like you should just close out with your main. You don't want to give Ryng an inch, man. Don't leave the door open.
Especially because I've just checked, and yes, indeed, Ryng has made it this far in the tournament without dropping a single game. Might have to drop another against Kazuya Mishima. Let's see how prepared you are for this one. I did not see this coming from Raflow. Yeah, Ryng made it all the way to at least 9th without losing a single game, but Raflow took 2 away with Dark Samus. Can Kazuya take one?
Bang on the FD as well, Tail. Just stubborn with it. FD with Kaz, I think Raflow said, what, if we want to keep going to FD, we can, bro. Let me just bring out my other pocket, one that's infamous on this stage as well, in Kazuya.
It's certainly a unfavourable situation, Kazuya on FD, but we've seen it done before, like our very own Streaks managing to beat Tease Kazuya on FD, but that is a misinput eruption. It was buffered, it was meant to be something on stage, possibly an up B out of shield, ends up off stage, gets an eruption out of it, and that's got so much end lag, and even armoring through the ether attempt, which could have taken a stock so early.
Yeah, trying to get himself back into the game, looked for it a bit too much. I think Raflow was ready for it, and either way, man, yeah, like you said, the misinput is going to be so unfortunate, and the Kazuya doing so well at the start of the game. Like I said, the FD pick, man, oh my god, pushing him down, and again, another buffered input. I'm telling you, bro, the Wi-Fi not helping this time, man. You got to connect to someone else, because it's just not looking good. These buffering inputs are just making it super unfortunate for Ryng right now.
Oh, and here is peak Kazuya on Final Destination. Not a 0 to death, but 49 taken from all kinds of angles across the stage, bouncing back and forth. Raflow is going in, it has to be said, recognizing that 3-stock lead. Kazuya can often just sit back and wait for the Ike to approach, because it's not like Ike's got a projectile. He's got to go in and do something eventually, and it's usually going to be a fairly slow and telegraphed attack. But Raflow doesn't care. He says, I want to win this tournament before my bedtime. I'm going to close out this set already. Gets forward airs for his troubles, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking kind of close, but it's just running away from him at the moment. It's Kazuya. Like I said, the misinputs are really costing Ryng right now. Has to find his way back in, but you have to trade hits now. You have to approach Kazuya, and that's what Kazuya wants. He wants you to come into those loving hands so he can show you some tough love on his end and just make it, his own stock. But either way, Ryng is doing a good job of kind of spacing Raflow out, but unfortunately the percent is still rising.
I'm not sure if the DI was even there on that move. Not expecting a regular down B to kill from Kazuya. Still dangerous. This is almost disheartening to watch because Ryng is playing so well right now. You just imagine if the SDs weren't there, this could be a really close game. But it's such a huge amount to come past. When you're at 153, almost everything Kazuya's got will kill. How do you play perfectly for 2 straight stocks against Kazuya on FD?
It's a big task for sure, but if anyone can do it, maybe Ryng can. But that up air so quick, even with the 7 jump frame squat, it's just so quick.
Ooh, wow, okay, the jab from Kazuya is going to do it. I still really loved popping the quick draw early to get in on the end lag of laser. Most characters would have been able to punish in that position, but Ike didn't quite have anything ready. And Kazuya does that 18% jab combo and takes the set. We have reported it on stream as 2-2, but it is 3-1 to Raflow with that brand new Kazuya